Laura Trott and Jason Kenny, simply the best, Britain's most successful Olympians ever. His sixth gold was won with full starts and high drama. Her fourth gold was a walk in the park as others fought fiercely for silver and bronze. But what prompted this exchange between Team GB's golden couple?
No! He's not getting called Kieran.
Apparently not, no.
And we're with the young tumblers who camped out to watch Olympic success for their fellow gym member, waiting on her GCSE results. Also this lunchtime, 2 women are found guilty of the murder of successful businesswoman Sadie Hartley. And in the tussle for Labour's leadership, Owen Smith says there should be negotiations with so-called Islamic State. Jeremy Corbyn disagrees.
This is the ITV Lunchtime News with Alistair Stewart.
Good afternoon. Team GB pedalled, punched, tacked and tumbled their way to take Britain's overall medal haul to the best ever in any overseas games. And there are 5 more days to go. But yesterday's achievements were encapsulated in the historic brilliance of 2 cyclists who just happened to be engaged to be married. Laura Trott's 4th gold medal made her Britain's most successful female Olympian ever. Her fiancé Jason Kenny's 6th gold put him on a par with the great Sir Chris Hoy as Britain's most successful male Olympian. We'll hear from Laura and Jason in a moment. But first, Ian Payne on a day of drama, history and just brilliant achievement.
If Laura Trott and her fiancé Jason Kenny were a country, they'd be 13th in the medal table. They've won 5 gold medals between them on the Velodrome at these Olympics, and overall now, Kenny has 6 golds and Trott 4. Last night it was Trott who was up first. She was taking part in the Omnium, which is like the heptathlon of cycling. She led going into the final event, the points race, which basically features everyone in a blur of colour. And to cut to the chase, Trott, in 4th place in the white helmet here, had built up enough points throughout the race not to be challenged. So it was gold again, and her tearful night had begun. And back at her local track in Hertfordshire, the reaction was just joy. An hour later, it was Kenny's turn. He was racing in the Kirin, which is a straight race.
Front and it's on. Here we go! No, they overlapped the bike.
But twice it was stopped because riders overtook the motorised Derny as it left the track. At one stage, it looked like Kenny might be disqualified and Trott looked sick. The tension was palpable, but it was a British laptop to the rescue to prove he hadn't transgressed and he was safe. And when the race eventually got underway, it was King Kenny out sprinting everyone again.
Jason Kenny's got it! What a ride!
And it was almost 3 golds for Team GB on the night. Becky James was narrowly beaten in the sprint race by Germany's Christina Vogel, and earlier Katie Marchant just won the bronze medal after another tight finish. So Britain's final tally on the track, 6 golds, 4 silver and 1 bronze, led from the front by Team GB's golden couple, due to be married next month. Ian Payne, ITV News.
And I suspect that pretty well everyone now knows that that certain couple of Team GB athletes have won 10 golds between them and torn the record books to shreds. But I spoke to Laura and Jason a little earlier, and I began by asking Laura why she looked so stressed watching Jason race for gold last night.
Well, to be honest, when I compete myself, it's fine, I'm in control. But when Jason competes, no, I can't deal with it. Like, I have no idea what he's going to do and when he's going to do it. So I feel completely out of control. So it just puts me into this kind of whole weird, nervous state, and I just absolutely hate it.
It was brilliantly captured on television, but what we saw from you, Jason, was equally extraordinary. I mean, not 1 but 2 full starts, threat of elimination, and you were kind of leaning back on the bike, cool as a cucumber, hands off the handlebars, but what was really going through your mind?
Not a lot, to be honest. You know, at that point in time, there's not a lot I could do about it. It was kind of in the hands of the judges and all the guys running around. I could see everyone running around with laptops in track centre, showing their event, different versions of events on videos from different angles. So I think ultimately it was the right decision. I would have felt, if they'd have pulled anyone else out, myself included, I think they would have felt hard done by, and I think the right decision was to let everyone race.
You know the buzz is that people are saying, oh, isn't it unusual? How strange that the Team GB have peaked perfectly at these Olympics, and there's a nasty kind of whisper going round. Do you just dismiss that, or do you take it on?
Is that you and me? Go on, I'll do it. At the end of the day, it's you know, success is always going to bring a bit of scepticism, I suppose, but you know, we got a clear conscience, and we know that we've just worked really hard, and we've got a really good team that have backed us all the way, which we really appreciate. So, but we can't let it bother us. I don't think at the end of the day, as a team, like I say, it's just kind of it's through the hard work of all the people around us and the riders themselves.
Yeah, I just think, like, for British cycling as well, we've always been very much an Olympic-based programme, so we've always focused on the Olympics. So it was never about World Championships beforehand. It's always been about this, and our programmes have been very much designed around this, and I think that makes such a huge difference compared to other countries.
Now, you had lots of friends and family there supporting you, but did you miss the dogs?
Oh, we always miss them. They're our little family.
And Jason, if you, when this wedding is finally sorted out, which all of Laura's teammates say she's the best organised one, she'll sort it all out, you'll be told what to do. If you were blessed with children and had a son, might you call him Kieran?
No, no, he's not getting called Kieran.
Apparently not, no.
was that apparently not, Jason?
Yeah, apparently not, yeah. Apparently we don't get much say in that.
Can I ask you finally to hold up all of the medals, which folk at home may or may not have heard is actually more than many host nations, including Brazil, have achieved. So there we are, and it's called a clunk of gold. From everybody, our warmest congratulations to both of you. Laura Trott, Jason Kenny, absolutely brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But no Kieran, hey-ho. Team GB's success at these games is a feather in the cap for Bill Sweeney, the chief executive of the British Olympic Association. He spoke to our sports editor Steve Scott this morning about those allegations from rivals and his relief that the team have already hit their medal target.
We're all absolutely delighted. You know, we came here wanting to be the best ever away team, and we knew we had a really talented squad of athletes here. But to be at this stage with still 5 days to go, yeah, it's a great feeling.
What do you put it down to? Is there any single thing? Is it about team spirit? Is it about funding? Is it about just you've got a brilliant set of athletes?
I think it's a whole combination of things. I think you could go all the way back to John Major and that decision to have national lottery funding into the elite sport programme going back after '96. So we've had a real solid investment now for nearly 20 years. We've had really focused investment over the last two quads. I think we're the first nation ever to have increased investment after hosting a game. So, I mean, that obviously has a big benefit. We've got a really good network of national governing bodies in sport in the UK, very passionate about their sport, committed to what they do. You've got UK Sport channeling that funding. We've got a great set of sponsors behind us, and the whole thing's come together really well.
Speaking about the Velodrome last night, a great success, of course, but there has been some sniping going on, thinly veiled criticisms of Team GB. What do you make of those? Yeah,
I love it. You know, I love, I mean, having Australians whinging about our success and them coming second. I mean, it's great to have that happen. Yeah, it's normally the other way around, isn't it? Apart from the rugby. So, no, delighted to hear that. I mean, I heard one quote which was that the Brits seem to peak at every Olympics and we don't know what they do. Well, you know, that's what we'd like to see. And I remember talking to Shane Sutton at the Worlds in March, and where they narrowly pipped us, and he said that we're right on track. We're aiming to peak in the Olympics, and we'll do them in the Olympics. So no, we're not worried about that. It means we've got them riled a bit.
Sour grapes only, do you think?
Yeah, I think it's sour grapes. You know, when you've trained that hard and you come into the competitive environment there, and we absolutely smash them and get 11 medals there, and every single cyclist taking home a medal, I'm sure they're a bit unhappy.
And just finally, sort of reflecting on everything, do you think the success here, the exposure the games have had, how everyone's feeling at home, is justification for some criticism about the amount of money that's spent on the British Olympic team?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'm probably going to be biased there, but I think what we have to do now is turn that success from London, but also from here, into continued growth in participation in sport. And I think all these young athletes coming through should do that. We've seen growth numbers across virtually all of our Olympic sports over the last 4 years in terms of participation. But I think if we can get more people playing sport, addressing all those issues we're well aware about in terms of healthier lifestyles, then I think it's money well spent.
And among the the other British success stories from day 11. Jack Law won silver in the men's individual 3-metre springboard final 6 days after taking gold in the synchronised diving. It was Team GB's 50th medal of these games. Hannah Mills and Saskia Clark have gone one better than London 2012 by securing gold in the women's 470 sailing class. That as long as they finish today's medal race. And that would add to Giles Scott's gold in the Finn class yesterday. And the gymnast Niall Wilson from Leeds became the first Brit to win a medal in the horizontal bar, his near-flawless routine earning him bronze. Just a month ago, 16-year-old Amy Tinkler was busy taking her GCSEs. Last night, Team GB's youngest athlete won bronze in the women's floor exercise. Her victory was particularly sweet for the gymnasts club in South Durham, where her mum used to coach and where Amy started training as a 2-year-old. Suzanne Verdi now on the young girl that's inspiring another generation of gymnasts.
There were tears, but ones of joy from Amy Tinkler as she realised she'd bagged a bronze medal. She wowed the judges with what was described as a virtually flawless routine, much to the delight of her coach who's been training her since she was just 2 years old.
To get her into the Olympic team was our first goal, and after that we just said we're just going to enjoy it. We just wanted to go out there and have an amazing time. So to make the final was unreal. To actually come out with a medal, just unbelievable.
If an Olympic medal wasn't a big enough achievement, Amy's also made history. At 16, Amy is the youngest member of Team GB and is only the second British woman to win an individual gymnastics medal. Practice at her club had to fit around schoolwork. Amy missed June's European Championships to concentrate on her lessons, but that didn't hinder her medal dream. And now she's an inspiration to young gymnasts at her South Durham club.
Me and Amy are really close, so it was very emotional when she did get that medal, and just to get there is just amazing for her.
Oh, I'm super proud to know that one of our teammates has went out there and won a bronze medal at the Olympics. It's just unbelievable. I'm so proud of her.
Yeah, I always believed in her. I mean, she works so hard and she's so passionate and dedicated, and I knew she could do it.
Amy knows her hard work in the gym has paid off, but she'll have to wait just a little longer to find out if her hard work in the classroom has done the same. Her GCSE results are due the day after she gets home from Rio. Suzanne Verdi, ITV News.
And just to confirm, yesterday's Hall of Medals has kept GB firmly at the top tier of the medal table. We now have 19 gold, 19 silver and 12 bronze, taking our total to 50 and second place overall behind the United States. Well, Amy Lewis is in Rio for us live this lunchtime. Amazing results up to now, Amy, as you know better than anybody else. Are we going to add to it today?
Well, Alistair, it sort of says something about where we are in this Games, where we think winning a couple of medals is a quiet day. Today, we're pretty much guaranteed in the sailing and the 470 category gold. That's Saskia Clark and Hannah Mills. They're guaranteed it as long as they don't get disqualified. It's one better than what they managed to achieve in London, where they got a silver medal. In the boxing later on, we're going to see Savannah Marshall. She's competing in the women's middleweight category. If she wins that fight, then she is guaranteed a medal. And then a little later, we're also going to see in the athletics Cindy Philly. She's competing in the 100 metres hurdle. She's managed to make it through to the final. She's an outside chance on a medal, that one, but she does have a chance. And then today already we've seen the women's golf start here. It's the first time that golf has featured as an Olympic event for around 100 years. Charlie Hull was competing for Britain in that one, just over a roundup of where we are. So we've guaranteed that we have the best away games. Being told it's still a tough call to get the best ever games. That means that we'd need to beat London, which was 65 medals. Being told that's a tough call.
All right. Amy, thank you. Coming up later in the programme, why romance is in the air in Rio. The athletes adding marriage proposals to their memories and medals. But first, 2 women were found guilty today of murdering a successful businesswoman on the doorstep of her home. Sadie Hartley was shot with a stun gun and then stabbed. Sarah Williams targeted her because she was dating her former boyfriend. She and her accomplice, Katrina Walsh, were both convicted of murder today. Ben Chapman is live outside Preston Crown Court for us now. Ben.
There were gasps from Sadie Hartley's family as those 2 guilty verdicts were read out a short time ago. This was a murder motivated by determined jealousy, not a crime of passion, but a carefully planned assassination, police say, of an entirely innocent woman.
Sadie Hartley and her long-term partner Ian Johnston were planning a happy future together. What she couldn't plan for was the woman in the background plotting to destroy it. His jealous, murderous ex-partner whom he'd recently resumed contact with.
I'll regret it forever. And I never for 1 minute believed that the few chuck away ridiculous texts could ever lead to such atrocious events and such unimaginable loss.
Sarah Williams was obsessed with Ian Johnston. Described in court as unhinged, she wrote to his long-term partner to try and break them up. "I think you should know Ian has been cheating on you for over a year," she wrote. "Ian is not in love with you, never has been and never will be." But when the letter failed, she embarked on a 16-month plot that would end in what prosecutors called an assassination. She recruited an accomplice, Katrina Walsh, buying a tracking device for their victim's car. The planning was meticulous. They bought a bunch of flowers, delivering them to Sadie Hartley's house to check they had the right address, and even travelled to Germany to buy their weapon.
On the night of the murder, Williams knocked on Sadie Hartley's door. As it opened, she lunged at her, paralysing her with a stun gun before attacking her with a knife in what's been called an act of demonic savagery.
In the days that followed, police found the murder weapon and the remains of the stun gun hidden at Walsh's workplace, along with diaries of their plot. But they denied murder, claiming they were merely acting out a game from a TV show. Sadie Hartley's daughter said in an interview conducted by the police that no sentence would be enough.
She was just perfect. There was nothing bad about her that anybody could say. She was just a lovely, trustworthy, kind, loving woman. She just cared about everybody.
She says bitterness and jealousy has robbed her family of an inspirational woman.
There have been so many shocking features of this case for that family to come to terms with, from the level of planning involved over such a long period to the brutality of the attack itself. The woman who carried it out, Sarah Williams, closed her eyes as the verdict was delivered. Her accomplice, Katrina Walsh, reached for the seat in front of her. They will both be sentenced this afternoon.
Ben, thank you. Tens of thousands of people in California have been forced from their homes as a wildfire spreads through drought-affected areas east of Los Angeles. The fire now covers close to 28 square miles, with flames reaching as high as 100 feet. At least a dozen houses have so far been destroyed. And here, the number of people in work reached a record high in the run-up to Britain's vote to leave the European Union. 31.8 million people were employed in the 3 months to June. The number of people classed as unemployed fell to the lowest figure for 8 years. Owen Smith has suggested negotiations will be needed with so-called Islamic State to secure peace. At a hustings event today, the Labour leadership candidate said that all solutions to the kind of problems the terrorist group creates come about through dialogue. Well, our political correspondent Libby Vina joins us live now from Westminster. Libby, blunt question, did he mean to say it?
Well, Owen Smith is quite an expert in sensitive negotiations, having taken part in the Northern Ireland peace process. But I don't think he meant for his words to come out exactly as they did this morning, because he has put out a statement clarifying what he meant, saying that there could be no negotiations with the IS until they renounced violence, which doesn't look like a very likely prospect at the moment. Anyway, this is what he said live on television earlier today.
And my view is that ultimately all solutions to these sorts of crises, these sorts of international crises, do come about through dialogue. So eventually, if we are to try and solve this, all of the actors do need to be involved. But at the moment, ISIL are clearly not interested in negotiating.
All right.
And
so you're a no and you're a yes. That's clear. Thank you. No, it's
yes at some point. At some point, for us to resolve this, we will need to get people around the table.
Well, another possible explanation is that he might have been trying to outflank Jeremy Corbyn on the left, as it were. Mr. Corbyn in the past has suggested that the government should set up a back channel to ISIS in the way it did with the IRA. And when we had that huge debate over whether to bomb ISIS targets in Syria, he said that a negotiated settlement was the only possible way forward. But he nevertheless today actually said that he wouldn't have IS round the table, and he later put out a statement saying that Owen Smith's words were hasty and ill-judged.
Libby, thank you. Finally, it seems some athletes at the Rio Games, not content with just coming home with memories and medals, some have been using the backdrop of the Copacabana to propose to their partners, and so far they've all said yes. Our correspondent John Ray reports from Rio.
Perhaps there's something in the water apart from the infamous pollution, because Rio's been bitten by the love bug. Here's Team GB's Tom Bosworth proposing to his partner on Copacabana Beach.
It's very individual for the athlete going to Olympic Games, so you kind of want to make that special for your family and for your loved ones as well, and share that moment with them in a way. I didn't want it to take away from the race either, so I left it a few days after, but yeah, it's now we have a memory from these games, not just from me competing, but we have something together.
China's diving duo Qin Kai and He Zi took the plunge together, though he rather gate-crashed her medal ceremony to pop the question. Still, she said yes. A man who's shown a lot more patience is Dean Wyatt, fiancé of dressage champion Charlotte Dujardin. Like so many other halves here, he's played a strong supporting role, and that won't change.
When I got with Dean the first day, I said, right, I'm just going to let you know right now that my horses will always come before you. And if you don't like it, you know where the front door is. And so I think that's how he's always known it from the start. I haven't changed anything. So, I've been honest.
So soon she'll add a band of gold to her medal collection as the Olympic City claims first place in the game of romance. John Ray, ITV News, Rio.
And that is it from all of us here. A very good afternoon to you. Bye-bye.